So what would you say are the most important factors to running a happy working team?
As I think I said earlier on, that's one of the biggest challenges of running a business, because that's what you want. We've all worked in places, I've worked in places where it wasn't a happy ship, and you don't get the best of people when they're not enjoying themselves. So we from the very beginning, we knew that with MCG, but it's how that manifests itself. You know, you can have fruit bowls, you can have gym membership, but that doesn't necessarily make places a happy place to work. So it's about creating the right atmosphere. So that's very much starts at recruitment. So trying to recruit the people that you think are MCGers, really, who will be happy in this environment, who enjoy working in a similar way to each other. Teamwork is a big thing here. Most organisations are going to say that, but it really is crucial, and that's probably one of the things I'm most proudest of in MCG, is that we have had and have a really good team of people who will look after each other all the time, will pitch in whether it's their job or whether it's not their job, and we work really, really hard as directors to make it an environment where people can learn and grow. We don't work excessive hours, because we're big believers in that what you do outside of work informs what you do in work as well. I want people to go out in the evenings and do other things, because they might come in the next day and say, I went to this exhibition, I ran this race, I swam this, you know. That's just as important. Sitting at your desk, not seeing the real world in our work, in our job, is not good. So we encourage people to do things outside of work. We encourage people to have a go at things inside of work. And we are very clear that although this is a fantastic job and we get to do some great things, it's really important that they have a happy life outside of work, and that will help them in work. All of which sounds a bit schmaltzy, but it does work. It seems to work.
I think it's also about how people fit into an organisation, and as we've grown, we've tried really hard to let MCG be, to allow people to be different from one another, because if there's only three of you at the beginning and you've got a really strong idea of what it is you're trying to achieve, the first person in probably has the hardest job in a way, and they have to kind of just do what you want, and then as it grows, it becomes quite difficult to, I think for us it's been very difficult in the last 3 or 4 years, as the business has got bigger and bigger, to let go enough for people to, we can't always all do everything together. So we are culturally, the glue was that we did everything together. Maybe there were only 6 of us, so we would go out for lunch and everyone would go, or there would be a Christmas party and everybody would come. But when you've got people in London and in Leeds and there are maybe 20 of you, that's not possible. And so you have to work out what the glue is when it isn't that we've all been out for a drink together, or we all sit down every morning and talk about what we did the night before. So that's been quite an evolution for the business, I think, in the last few years.
Definitely it has.
And as some of our more sort of longer standing members of staff have become more senior, for them to be able to take the directory roles that we perhaps used to play, where they are, you know, looking at the mentoring and the pastoral stuff and the appraisals and all of that kind of thing, that it's like passing the DNA on from one group of people to the next in the business.
Yeah.
And so finally, what are your personal favourite things about MCG?
My personal favourite thing is I just get to do this fantastic job. I love it. I think it's great. I think it's fast moving. It's interesting. I work with really talented, creative people. It keeps me on my toes. It challenges me at every corner. I never think I don't want to come to work. I never think, even on really tricky days, and we all have them, I kind of know it's going to be all right. I'm working with a group of people that I probably love, most of them. I get on really well with them.
Oh. It's true, and you have the autonomy to say, if you had a shit day, or if you have a selection of bad days in a week, if we sit down on a Thursday night, it is emotional because it's like a big family. If you sit down on a Thursday night and say, this week's not been great and Friday's the last day, we, amongst us, and the whole team, have the power to change that. It's because it's a small enough organisation to turn around and change quickly. there isn't an excuse to come to work the next week and say it's still bad and I still don't like it. So, but that's also the hardest thing, because there isn't anywhere to hide. If people aren't happy, or if you're not happy, you can't go and ask the personnel department to sort it out. There isn't anyone else to make those changes, and it means we have to be quite introspective a lot of the time. You have to look and say, is this thing that I have created with other people, but that I have created, is it failing in any way? Is it not delivering what it should for the people who work here? You know, I think all of us are very personally invested in the fact that we're paying for people to live their lives. You know, that our business that we set up not thinking very hard 16 years ago is now responsible for paying half the mortgage for, as Sarah says, a group of people who I'm extremely emotionally engaged with. And so if we fail, that's a big deal. So it's my favourite thing, and it's also the thing I dislike the most about the business, because it's a big responsibility.